Hey everybody, Tony here. It is turn 6. Advance this. It is now April 28th to May 1st, 1940. April is coming to an end. The Germans are still trying to push towards Trondheim and have broken through on the western end of the front. They have recaptured Bergen and they have sent the Norwegians fleeing into the mountains as they close in on Stavanger. So this turn, we're going to be landing 5 regiments. This will be landing at Drammen. This will be landing at Oslo. These 2 will land at Moss, and this one will land at Fredrikstad. Now, the primary goal of this turn for the Germans is to continue to reinforce Narvik, expand the breakthrough towards Trondheim, try to finish this supply base off, and then basically mop up down here in southern Norway. This air unit right here is going to be eliminated because it simply cannot escape. These 3 parachute units are going to be withdrawn at the end of the turn, but I'm just going to withdraw them now because this airfield is shut down, so they can't make any airdrops, and there's no Ju-52s left, so they couldn't make any airdrops anyway. So unless they get Ju-52s back, there's not going to be any airdrops even when they reappear. In addition, they receive a night fighter here in Germany, which at this right now cannot land at this airbase because it being shut down. But even then, it's not going to be very effective because it has very low attack, and it's going to be facing off against group bombers, which, as I've shown many times, the air system in this game heavily favors the bombers, especially since there's really not that many fighters around. The staging for the next turn, we have 5 supply depots that we're getting ready to send up because supply is starting to run low in Norway. And then we have a battalion here, 1, 2, 3 battalion-sized headquarters units. This is a battalion because it doesn't count double, but now that all the tanks are present, I'm going to try and get them all across. So that's 1, and then 3 battalions of machine gun units, 4, 5 of another motorized battalion, 2 more mountain artillery units to try to get to Narvik. So that's 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus the 5, so that's the 15. That leaves only 2 headquarters units still left in Germany. In addition, let me see if I can find them. The Ju-90B and the Focke-Wulf 200B are going to be withdrawn at the end of the turn, so they can still be used, and we may use them. Actually, let me take a quick look. Range from here to Trondheim is 37. So unfortunately those 2 can't make it all the way up there. But they might. They can make it to Bergen, but you have that fighter there. I suppose I could send, I do have some fighters that I could send to protect them. Well, that's out of the question. I have a fighter that I could send to protect them. So, we're going to start with, and I've already flipped everybody over who was disrupted, and I got rid of as many of the hex site interdiction markers as I could find. So I am going to just go ahead and start sending these across. This is going to Drammen. And of course it gets sunk right out of the gate. This is going to Oslo. It makes it. The next two are going to Moss. And the last one is going to Fredrikstad. So all of these units make it, but unfortunately my motorized does not. So we'll put that aside, and that is a whole regiment. So I think in the end, even though you get more die rolls, because you're sending just battalions across, when you sink, or when a full regiment is sunk, looking at the victory points, you get +1 for each battalion equivalent. So that's 3 battalions. Let me double check this. That may be 2 battalions. So that's 2 battalions for that regiment. So it's 1, 2, and then 3, 4, because they were sunk. So 1, 2, 3, 4, bringing the Allies to 26 points. And that puts a serious damper in my plans. So we have the Norwegians here that are making their way through the mountains. And this area here is basically wide open, and they can move, most of them can move pretty quickly through the mountains. We have that, and then we also have this artillery battalion here that can also move pretty quickly. Mountain units moving in mountains. Mountain only costs them 1, so it's a mountain hex is like a clear hex for those units. So this unit can easily get behind them, and this can easily move in here. So I'm going to have to spend some time setting up to protect certain areas. Like this one here. That is 1, 2 to get on the rail line. Or to get on the train. 1, 2, 4, it's 3. 1, 2 to get to there. These units, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. But they're going to stay put for the moment because there is no attack supply over here. I've got to get supply over there. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 to Stavanger. Germans capture Stavanger. This unit here is caught on the ground with nowhere to go and is destroyed. So, let's go there. So Stavanger is now owned by the Germans. Egersund really isn't that big a deal. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. They are going to move to protect this airfield. And see the rest of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will force the Norwegians to go around or head down the middle here. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. They could still slip through there, but I think that that's, at least this one could slip through, this one could slip through. These two would, well, this will have a harder time. This can come around behind, but I think I've got everything protected. So, but let's look at this again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, just to prevent that from being recaptured. So we are going to send this truck back down towards Oslo. 2, 3, 4, and I think Rough is still, oh, wrong chart. Rough is still 2 for combat motorized units. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to take this truck and move it to Oslo. Meanwhile, we're going to take this headquarters unit, and it's going to carry the supply. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 is 2. I'm going to take that. That is 1. That is 2. Move this over. Move this over. To where at least these units are cornered. I mean, they can still get out, but they can't escape to the north, but they can come all the way around here, coming out here, or coming out this end. But it's going to take them a while because these cost a couple of movement points to get across. I suppose that I could cut them off completely by moving to here. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. We will move an artillery unit there. So now they are completely cut off. And they will not be causing any problems. But that's going to tie up almost a full regiment. Oh yeah, I forgot to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's a supply source, so they're no longer out of supply. Let's see. 2, 3, 4. Let me take one more look here. 1, 2, 3. So this artillery unit can move by rail. Even though it just arrived, it can move up to 4 hexes. And 1, 2. Then we'll take 1, 1, 3, 4. 1, 2. Let's see. We'll move him his additional 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. And Oslo is protected. The trucks are protected. The mobilization centers are protected. This airfield is protected. This mobilization center is protected. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I had completely forgotten to move that unit on the last turn. So we have the 2nd Mountain Division. We have several units from the 2nd Mountain Division. 2. More from the 2nd. More from the 2nd. And as these units are starting to gather up into the mountains, 14. And the problem is that with the mountains, if less than half of my attacking forces are mountain troops, then there is a -2 penalty to the die roll. Now again, more rules shenanigans. There is no rail cap limit, and I can use rail movement to move wherever I want to, except for I cannot enter or leave a hex occupied by an enemy unit. So these two, I can move up to 12 hexes by rail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the breakthrough to Trondheim is almost complete. I gotta take this unit here. We're going to attack. We're going to expend this attack supply, and this one's got an extra one if needed. So 1, 2. So what do we have here? We have 2 points here, 6 points there, 3 points there, 0 and 0, and 1 there. So this is 4, 8, 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. We're going to interdict the hex side. And I have fixed the issue where I thought I was going to have to redo the whole thing. I'm going to pull this off of here. Oh yay, somebody's shooting off fireworks outside. But I thought I was going to have to rebuild the entire Narvik scenario beginning, but there is a little thing up here called refresh counters, and I refreshed it and these started working. So now I know what that's for. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 1, and they are taking a supply depot with them. 2, 3. 1, 2. Let's see, 9 and 6 is 15. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, one thing that also the rules do not make clear is if a headquarters is moving along a rail line, can it absorb units along the way? For example, if I were to take the 2nd Mountain Division headquarters and move along the rail line here, can I absorb its 2 regiments and a battalion of artillery, continue moving along, and absorb that unit, and continue to move along and absorb that unit, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 to there, and then 9 or 8, so that's 3 that would be spent, 4 and 5. Interesting conundrum. So having quickly consulted with the rules, I did learn one thing. I did learn that I thought it was different. I did learn that you can use a rail line. For example, I could use this rail line, move along up here, and I can move into an enemy occupied hex, but I must immediately stop an attack. I always thought that you had to detrain prior to that, then move into the hex. So I stand corrected over that. But the example that they give talks about a headquarters unit in training with all of its units absorbed, and they're all carrying supply. So it expends its movement point to get on the train, and then it may move at the rate allowed by the headquarters unit. So that kind of hints that the expectation is that a headquarters cannot absorb units along the way, but it's a hint. It's not written in stone. It's not a hard rule that says, hey, you cannot participate in this activity. So, but what I'm going to do, because it does strike me as a bit hinky to move along and absorb units along the way, so I'm not going to allow it for this game. Meanwhile, these units are going to entrain. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 1, 3. That's 3. And this one will detrain back here. This one will interdict the hex side. Scroll over or mouse over so that we can make sure that the interdiction goes to the proper orientation. And then these are going to move on in. And this unit, let's see, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. Oops. That needs to go back there. And now we have the 2nd Mountain Division preparing to blast out or widen this gap. So this unit is one doing train 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. Thanks to lack of zone of control. And they're going to grab this while they're passing through. So 1, 2, 4, 1, 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me just double check for this. 4, that's 2, 3, 4, 5. So yes, that is correct. So now they're getting to, we're reaching a point where the King's Guard are nearly surrounded. We are going to 1, 2, and these are moving by land. 3, 4 to prevent the King's Guard from getting out this way. And 1, 2, 3. This is 9, 12, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's move one back here and interdict the hex side. And prevent the King's Guard from escaping there. They're still going to be able to retreat, but I'm trying to put the full court press on now, trying to eliminate as many of those units as I possibly can. Over here, I'm having to play a little bit on the defensive, but I've captured everything I need to capture over here. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. It's 2 or 3. 1, 2, 3. 4. I think that they will be safe there. And then this unit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1, 2, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. That is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 5. And now the Germans are starting to put pressure on the Norwegians towards the Swedish border, and essentially they are in the process of enveloping most of the Norwegian units. Looking around, I don't think that started down here somewhere. 8, 7, 6, 2, 1. Yeah, I think it started there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that they're safe for now. I don't think that the Norwegians can really get to them. But now I've somehow got to do the same thing with these. And at some point, I'm going to have to start pulling my 2-4s out of here in order to start sending them over for garrison duty at Stavanger and Bergen. I could probably break some of these 163s down. So they've moved out. The British are setting up here. So as soon as we can get this cleaned out and we can start getting more units to arrive in the area, we can maybe start pushing the British out of the area. So that brings us to the air phase. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that in the Arctic it's actually 2. So 1, 2, 3. So sooner or later we're going to have to pull this back in. But in the meantime, as I discussed in the last video, these bombers being flown as transports are going to fly out to Trondheim. The fighters that are on the Ark Royal here and the fighter that is stationed at Bardufoss can't do a thing about it. And I think that the best solution, as rules-wise, would be to allow patrol attacks, or possibly the flying of combat air patrol missions over this hex to keep anything that's there grounded. Because this discovery, and if somebody finds a rule that contradicts what I'm saying, I will openly admit that I'm wrong, but I just have not found a rule yet that says that. But if there were a patrol attack or combat air patrol, these air units would be grounded. Because I believe that combat air patrol can intercept any air unit that comes into its hex. By combat air patrol is one of those newer rules that I'm not 100% familiar with. I'm pretty familiar with the core Europa rules, but it's always the specialized rules that get me, and I am not 100% familiar with the GRD updates, because I know I've looked over Second Front. I know that they've added different air missions like combat air patrol, but I am not completely familiar as to how it works exactly. So these two air units are going to fly down to here, and we're going to put them aside for the moment. We are going to take the 139th Infantry Regiment and oops, wrong one. Expanded breakdown, 139th, and we are going to break it down. Now, as I said before, during the last video, during the last turn, that one way to potentially keep the transports out of Trondheim is if the carrier has fighters, you could bring it down here, like right here. If the Furious had fighters on it, which, wait a second, I think that it may. And if it does, it'll make me rethink what I'm doing. So yes, it does have, there is a fighter on here, and from that point, because it has an interception range of 22, I can get in a composition. Let's, for giggles, let's put this down here and let us look at its range. And it takes a few moments for it to calculate it. But from there, it can cover Andalsnes, Namsos, Trondheim, and almost all the way up to Narvik. So, if this had any carrier force that is carrying skuas could even stay up here a little bit, and they could probably cover Andalsnes, Trondheim, and Narvik. And as I'm always constantly grasping about for new strategies for the Allies, that may be a major deterrent. That may be the way to combat this problem. But I had specifically put these up here last turn to illustrate the problem. The Skua I had flown out to the Furious because the Furious was going to be acting as a bridge where the Skua could land on the Furious, but then it could continue on to the Ark Royal and the Glorious. So, the other thing that I don't like about the Narvik rules is that we've got the updated counters for the air units. And you have, let's see, do we have any in here? No. Any here? Yes. Let me pull one out. So you have these bombers that have anti-shipping rockets and anti-shipping missiles. And I don't think that actually, I think that maybe the Skua, that's just carrier based. Oh, you have these swordfish that they are carrier based, but they are torpedo bombers. And while in Narvik, the German Navy, all the navies are pretty much abstracted. But there's no benefit of the anti-shipping. So while no British warships that I can recall off the top of my head were lost to air power in the Norwegian campaign, although I believe it was it the Karlsruhe or the Königsberg that was sunk by air power off the coast of Bergen. It was one of those two. I'm just not recalling off the top of my head. But there should be some sort of advantage for having and using those kinds of air units if you go after ships. So, what we are going to do, so 5-4 is 3, 6, 8. So that would be attacking at 1 to 2. 6. The issue with the Skua attacking from here is that it would be fighting at a 1 to 3, which makes it very, very likely that there's a 2 and 3 chance that the transports will still land without issue. But sometimes you have to take that chance. So let's go down here. Let's go back to our air units in Germany. Those can still do nothing. So let's pull these aside. So that's 31. Let us check the range. I've been playing some of these games that don't have this range ability, and it really drives me crazy. I love this range ability. So 31 hexes, so these three, we're going to pull one of these and send it via air power. God damn it. And we're going to replace it with one of these. So that leaves us with just one headquarters left to move across. So we're going to zoom in, and these three have just enough range. It's 31 hexes, which is the shortest range of the JU-90, or the range of the JU-90. So the JU-90 can make it to here. And the fact that I moved one of these out helps with the stacking. So I'm not overstacked. We're going to put that aside so that we can see that and remember that they are there. So these, are all of these 22 range? Yes, 22 range. So let's go extended range. Come on, it takes a while for it to calculate sometimes. And mine's kind of an older machine. It's 10 years old. So we are at 20%. Let's go to 12.5%. And yes, they can reach NOMSOs. Just wanted to make sure. I was pretty sure that they could, but I just wanted to make sure. So shut the extended range off. So these air units are going to go after the NOMSOS supply base one more time. See if they can take it out. That's 4.5 to 1. So I need to disrupt there. 12 to 2, 6 to 1. 15 to 6. Just over 2 to 1. And there's a -1 for the wood, for the forest. So I need to disrupt there. Need a major disruption. So those two cannot make it, that cannot make it out there, but this could slip through there if I wanted to sacrifice a headquarters unit. Does the headquarters have anything in it? It is first. Let me just check it. No. So in theory, it could 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It could swing all the way down here and just be a pain in the butt. I mean, it would get crushed the very next turn. But sometimes you gotta just be a pain in the butt. So these units. So anybody else that I am attacking? Oh yeah. Decrease. And this airbase is fully functional, but in danger of being overrun. And decrease. 6 more turns. So this actually isn't even going to be open until almost the end of the game. And we're going to take the dive bombers and we're going to go there. These air units. I need to check real quick if bombing ships is a tactical or a strategic. I think it's a. So I cut myself off just before I had hit the pause to go look at the rule. And attacking naval air units is a tactical mission, and it's actually kind of convoluted how it works. But just for giggles, I am going to be going after the Furious up here. And let's check the range real quick. I'm pretty sure 21, 20. So they are in normal range. And it is not in a partial C hex, so it is automatic. It is not automatically spotted. So that is going to that is really not going to be easy to do because you're going to lose at least half of the air units due to them being unable to spot the target. So we're sending quite a few after it. And then finally we have this group. They're going to be flying at extended range. So we're just going to put them out there in the middle for right now. Yeah, right there. They are going to be bombing just outside of Trondheim. So as I look this over, I think I'm going to take half of these. Let me scooch over just a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of these, and these are flying at normal range. So yeah, 3, 4, 5. We're going to bring them down here to try and take care of that one. Let's see if I have any more transports left. No. Well, I got these 2 transports, but they can't carry anything. And that's still just shut down. So, okay. So these have done their thing. 3, 6, 8. So this is going to intercept. And those have no offensive capability whatsoever. So this interception, I can feel it right now that this is going to end badly. So 5 to 8 is 1 to 2. Now 5, oh, they missed. So 2 to 3 is 1 to 2. And ow. It's 1 kill, 1 abort. So the transports actually got the better of this exchange, which is really kind of funny when you stop and think about it. I mean, I realize that the heavy fighters are not the most maneuverable things in the world, but to be taken down by a bunch of transports that have no offensive capability whatsoever is really kind of funny. So that is 2 points that they lose, that the Allies lose. These units finish their mission and they will return. Let's see. Let's do this step by step. So let's pull these out. So 8. And you have a total of 8. And they hit on a 4, 5, or 6. And they're going out to the King's Guard. And they hit. King's Guard is disrupted again. Reducing this to a 15 to 4. So not quite 4 to 1. So it's a 3 to 1 minus 2. So that's actually tempting to make their stand there. This one, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and they will hit on a 3, 4, 5, or 6, and they hit, disrupting that one. And then this group here is flying at extended range, and they are likely not going to hit. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 2/3 there. 3. So that's 3, 6, 8. They will hit on a 4, 5, or 6, and they get a 1, and they miss. This group here, 1, 3, 6. How much AA is here? 5, 10, 15. And 6 is 21. So I think that if I'm going to lose one, it'd rather be a weak one. So this one's probably going to get creamed. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 19, 15, and 6, 21. So that's 1 to 1. All right, game chart. 1 to 1. 6, they completely miss. And then the last one is 7 to 1. And so it's going to get absolutely torn up and shot down. So I probably should have sent 6 down here and left 5 there. So they gain a point back for shooting down a bomber. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit on a 5 or a 6, right? 2, 5 or 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 shots. 1, 2, hit. 3, hit. 4, 5, 6. 3 hits. So they deliver 3 hits. So increase. So that's a total of 5 hits. And that Allied supply base has been destroyed. So now the British are in trouble. They're going to have to start backing up. So now, finally, we have the main event. Going after the Furious. These are all flying at extended range. So let me get them out of the pile first. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15. They all have strength of 2, so I put them into groups of 3. Groups of 3. 3. 3. Let's leave that one there. Put him down there. So, because this is a situation where if the Furious is sunk, the Skua are lost. If they go into air combat, they might be lost. But we're just going to have to take that risk. So that's 4, 8, 12, 2 to 12, 1 to 6. So they're likely not going to do anything. And then there's 2, 4, or 4, 8, 12. 12 to 2 is 6 to 1. So they're toast regardless. So let's do the German roll. A 1. And that is 3 killed, 2 abort. And then down here, the British need to roll a 1. And they don't. So there's another 1 gone. German chart. Allied area units eliminated. And 2 more victory points lost. So now the fun begins. Since they're at sea, let's take a look at the rule. Since they are at sea, 1 die is rolled for each air unit. On a 1, they do not see it on a 1, 2, or 3. A roll for 4, 5, or 6, and they do see it and may attack the naval unit. Oh, so I'm supposed to do... Okay, so let's back up. Let's bring the SCUA back out, because they need to check and see if they spot it first. Oops. Wrong thing. Wrong thing again. Now let's bring the SCUA back out. Bring him back out to play. And let's give them their 2 victory points back so that I don't forget. And we'll start with the first 3. So they need a 4, 5, or 6 to spot it. So 2, 6, 5. He does not spot it. 6, 1, 6. He doesn't spot. And then 2, 6, 4. Wow, these are rolling incredibly well. 1, 3, 4. These 2 do not spot it. And then 3 more. 5, 2, 5. So 5, so 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just a little over half, so it worked itself out. Now the question is, do I reform into waves? Let's reform into waves of 3. And again, we've got 6 to 1 versus 1 to 6, so he needs a 1. So let's do interceptor first, and he gets a 1, so he takes 1 down, and then he gets creamed. One kill, 1 abort. So, oh, and it's the 7s. Dang it. So they drive 1 off. So he's going to have to fly with them. So, join him with the dead skuas. And they did get one of their bombers, so they get +1 for that. So +1, -2. Now comes anti-aircraft. Okay, so we used the 5 and the 5 for the 2 cruisers, but for the carrier itself, this number is not the anti-aircraft number like it is on these. The anti-aircraft number instead is up here, so it has a +3. So 5, 10, 13. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 13. So that's 1 to 1 for the first round of AA. And 3, 1 kill. Whoops, didn't want to go that far. And we'll give them 1 point for the bomber being shot down. And put that there. And as you can see, that sinking an aircraft carrier is not an easy thing, especially if it's got anti-aircraft cruisers with it. So we're down to 6. We started with 15, we're down to 6. Each one of these is flying at extended range, so they get 2 each. And they will hit on a 5 or a 6. Wave 1, 5, wave 2, 6. Oh my goodness. This thing has been rolling very, very high. So the Furious has been sent to the bottom off of the coast of Norway, taking a swordfish with it. So we'll put this over here. So let's see. Let's put this into the dead pile here. And, oh, forgot to put the Furious in with it. They have Allied ground units lost, Allied air units eliminated. They don't have any box for carriers sunk. But this is going to be -4 for the Furious sunk. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there's a bunch of AA cruisers out here without a carrier to protect. So this is the first time actually that I've ever actually sunk one of the carriers with air power. It's actually one of the first time well, no, it's not the first time. I've tried it before in the old Narvik game and just never had any luck doing it. But if I were to launch bombers from here, I'm sure that the chances would greatly increase. But of course, that's assuming. I'm pretty sure that I sent the air units that are stationed here in Norway after the supply base and the long-range air units to here, to there. There's one way for me to tell. There. Let's go to 12.5. So from Kjøbenhavn here to there is 42. So yeah, they're in range. That's 40. Because sometimes I will look at a video after I've done it and I've come to the realization that, like in the case of transports, I flew them from Norway down to Germany and put them off to the side where I wasn't going to use them again, and then I turned around and used them again, which they shouldn't have done. I just completely spaced that they had just come from Norway. So I'm pretty sure, because these had the 20s in it. Yeah, see, that's got a 20 hex. So these came from here in Norway. These came from Kjøbenhavn. So I'm hoping that I have that right, because sometimes I will just forget. Maybe it would be a good idea in the future for me to mark it with an X for extended range. Probably not a bad idea. Unfortunately, the older you get, the faster the mind goes. So it is now the air return phase. And these 3 bombers pick up their cargo and fly back to Narvik, where that unit will be absorbed by the headquarters. Well, actually, it doesn't need to be absorbed right this minute. These air units head back to Kjolbenhaven. And for anybody who lives out in Europe, in Denmark, or in Norway, please forgive me if I'm butchering names. So these are going to fly back. And they're going to, I'm going to sort them in a minute. These two are here. Two are here. Usually. And 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5. So 5. Oops. 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. So we put one there. We put these other. So we have 9 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 1, 2, 3, 4. No more there. These air units are going to head back. This one is going to land here, so they can be combined with those. These two are being withdrawn. And they're gone. See, I actually remembered to withdraw them. So we have 4 here, so we can take 5. 1, 2. So let's pull the 20s out. Let me actually zoom in a little bit so I can read it a little better. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And that's 5. We're going to send that there. And let us quickly make sure that we have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then finally, we're going to take these 2, 3, 6, 8. These there. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that makes 16. So they're good. So now we get back. We get down to the fighting. No attacks there. No attacks here. Move up to here. So here we go. 12 to 2, 6 to 1. That is in mountain. Mountain troops are fighting, so there is no die roll modifier. Six to 1, and they roll a 4. And that is a defender eliminated. Oh, wait a second. We'll hold the 4 just in case. So, for some reason, I keep forgetting the retreat roll. So we'll go with the Torkildsen Brigade. They cannot retreat, and then the headquarters can retreat on a 1. So no. They suffer the defender retreat, or defender eliminated. And there. Okay, HMKG to Kingsguard always gets to retreat. So 2, 3, 4. 9, 12, 15 to 4 is 3 to 1 minus 1. Here the Kingsguard is going to make it stand, and they are going to not retreat. The other one I'm going to roll, and they could retreat, but they're not going to. They are going to make their stand here. So 3 to 1 minus 1, 6, 5. Half exchange. Oh, defender half eliminated. So 6. So the Kingsguard has been eliminated. And that unit retreats. The Kingsguard was hoping for a better result than they were hoping more like a 2. A4 or less is what they were hoping for. So this artillery unit retreat. They get out of there. And so the front is still intact, yet weakened. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14. They have attacked. So 1, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4. So we will expend that supply depot. And then we have this. We will expend this supply depot. We are fighting 9 to 2, which is 4.5 to 1. Game chart. This one, just in case. We roll a 4, and a 4 to 1, which is a defender half eliminated, which means it is completely eliminated. Oh, that's weird. I don't know if this will show up in the video, but ew, wait a second. That wasn't showing up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 9 to 4 is 2 to 1. So a 4 on a 2 to 1. Wonder why that wasn't showing up. Is a no effect. So, Mr. Cavalry, you get to return. Well, that is weird that it's not showing up. There it is. Oh, this must be in one of the edges of the grid, because you can see the map line here. These things are so painful because if you come in from different sides of the hex, it won't always put it into, there's actually a half a hex and a half a hex on the map, so it won't always show up. So if you have that issue, you just need to make sure that you bring it into the other side, and then it will show up. And they'll even stack properly. So no effect. Wow. 4. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. Here come the reinforcements. Now, one of the things that is going to start getting difficult is that as we get into the mountains, as long as they are not on the roads, German divisional headquarters cannot head off into the mountains. And the very first time that I played this, I knew that. I had read that in the rule and I completely forgot it, which I do sometimes until I actually get in and actually use a rule and play it a few times. It sticks in my head, and I got called out on it. It was really kind of embarrassing. But the mountain headquarters, divisional headquarters, can. So if you see me take off with the divisional headquarters across the map, that's why. Now, why I did not take out this 04 headquarters, it's all by its lonesome. I simply didn't have enough movement points left. But while Trondheim is still isolated, the Germans are trying to break out of it, but they've left themselves very weakened here. If I had remembered or noticed or saw that there were actually 2 battalions there instead of 1, I may not have attacked. I may have just been content to sit in Trondheim. So now that we only have 6 points left in there, it's going to get interesting. But the saving grace is the British do not have supply. So that the destruction of this supply base may save Trondheim for the Germans. So now that that has been completed, all air units have been returned, all units have been withdrawn, the Furious has been sunk. It's time for the Allies to respond. So now that the Allies are reeling from the loss of the Furious, I mean, not one of their bigger carriers, but it is a major prestige loss. Now they have to try to protect the remaining carriers. Reinforcements this turn. The Norwegians would be receiving 3 more artillery battalions if they controlled the artillery stores. But since the Germans control all of the artillery stores, these units are captured and do not come into play. This is part of the reason the artillery stores are so important, and they've got to be captured as soon as possible. Number 3 is pretty easy. It's the other 2 that you have to put some effort into. They also, the British also receive 1 carrier-based aircraft, basically from a replacement pool, and it gets to be placed at Hatston Field. Now, as we look at the supply situation, the British are now out of supply. We are going to change the supply status Allied turn. And I think it's really cool that I can click on everything in there, tell it to do it once, and it changes the status for all of them. And change the status Allied turn. I believe that is everybody. And because, well, the first turn really has no effect. Being out of supply the first turn has no effect on operation. We can take a quick look at the rules here. And we can see here it says out of supply during the first turn a unit is unsupplied, no effect. So the British could attack Trondheim to try and eliminate those two mountain units. But come the very next British turn, or come the next German turn, the Germans are going to come pouring back in here. Because there was a no effect here, these two Norwegian units have to attack the infantry, the German infantry regiment, or they have to get the hell out of Dodge. And so they'll get the hell out of Dodge, most likely. And the Germans are right there. This motorized unit can't cross the mountain, so it's going to have to go around. So by these moving out, this attacking Trondheim is an extremely risky move. It is times like this that try General souls. So let's go ahead and let's just start up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we will pull the 6th Brigade out. And there's a supply base there, right? Yes. So these two regiments cannot move to attack until next turn. And likely they will be reinforced again. And the reason being is that one unit simply does not have the movement points. The 6th Norwegian Brigade has 2, 4, 6 points, and it's 4 short from what from the minimum that I'm going to need. But I'm going to leave that move. I've got to do Norwegian mobilization. I forgot that. This is turn 6. So we're down here. So again, we only get 2 battalions. The 9th and the 15th. Well, the 15th has already been captured by the Germans at Narvik. And the 9th is Bergen. So those 2 are captured. And for this game, this is the story of the Norwegians. They just cannot get anything mobilized. The Germans are just on top of the whole thing and shut it down. So this is 1, 2, And let me double check my mountain movement. My mountain movement for non-motorized units is 2. And 3 movement effects, and because south of the weather line, north of the weather line. So mountain units have to spend 2 to move through the mountains, and 3 for anybody else. So that is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these can move. They can reach there by turn 7. I don't think that they can hit that. So they wouldn't reach here until turn 8. But I'm going to leave that supply there as the Germans. I'm going to leave the supply there as long as I can. Now this question, extended range. Can it reach Bardufoss? And the answer is no. No, it cannot. So it's kind of stuck there. Now we're going to pull out all of the AA cruisers and we're going to move them up to the next port here. And we're going to establish a new Allied supply base. We still have a few to... We still have 3 others that we can make. These I don't know what I'm going to do with quite yet. I think that because... Well, these are going to be needed in order to try to disrupt troops at Narvik. So might as well put these there. And we're going to move the Valiant up to here, to this port. And yes, it opens up the port of Trondheim, but they're going to move up here where they can be more useful in helping, hopefully, protect the supply base. These Marine units are going to be sea lifted via the Royal Navy to there. Because they can stack freely in ports. And 1, 2, 3. And the AA is going to start moving. Although I think that I could probably move them via naval transport. So yes, Allied units, British units, may be transported port to port. Let me double check. Allied reinforcements may be transported to Norway. Units are transported. Allied non-Norwegian units on the map may be transported from port to port. So they are being transferred by sea from Namsos to whatever this port is. Brønnøysund. That almost sounds Scottish or Irish. At least to my ears. So they're now at that minor port. These units, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because this line here, it doubles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, we'll move these forward. Be with the 15th. So 148, 24G, 146th. Okay, so that's 369, 369, and 368. 4, 1, 4, 1, 4. Which one of these is 0 for? 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4. There was one in the original Narvik game that was 0, 4. I think it was the 146th to the 148th. So let's see. So we want the 146th and the 148th. If this is not successful, it is going to cost a lot of victory points, but no guts, no glory, and I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of allied players out there who are just cringing, because I have played against people who do not like putting any allied unit at risk unless they absolutely have to. But I look at it this way: this is just a game. I can get many, many victory points for destroying mountain troops. These, on the other hand, this unit is going to have to come down here, and these two, 1, 2, 4. That is 1 into there. So 1, 2. Did they just cross a mountain? No. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Move this over to make room for this. 1, 2, 3, 4. But as you can see, the Germans are widening this out, and they're about to capture this other rail line. Oh, come on. These units, there is not really a lot of combat strength here with the Germans, so they're just going to stay in the mountain and hunker down. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So all these are going to be racing for the Bergen area. See if they can get anything established, any sort of counterattack established. Oh yeah, this air base. Decrease. That air base is now open again. Let's see. So the reason that I decided to head up to Bergen is because they're relatively weak in this area, and they can get around here behind, but there's not really a lot of havoc that they can create because everything is being protected. I need to move a regiment here to protect that, and I forgot to move that in exploitation. Oh well. Move this, move that in. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I have supplies landing next turn. And they need to be moved. So there is some modicum of protection there. There's nothing there. So I may have to pull these two back, because I think I probably have enough up here. Pull these two back to protect these airfields, just in case the Norwegians decide to do what they do best, to be a pain in the butt. And I mean that from a game standpoint. The few Norwegian people that I have met have been really, really nice. So I don't mean that personally. I think it's kind of sad that we live in a day and age where I actually have to say things like that. Okay, so over here we're going to move this unit to there. And extended range. Can't reach the carriers up there. The carriers up here. And no, it cannot. So in order for this to meet the carriers have got to come down a bit. Down to here somewhere. And then I believe that they may be out of range of Narvik. Let's take a quick look. Oh, let's go markers. Get markers. Just for giggles, let's fill out a little. Oh, Furious only needed one hit to go down, not the two that I got. So, a group of bombers came in and hit it while it was in the process of sinking. Oh, really? They only take one hit? Ooh, have to keep that in mind. So, anyway, 16 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 16. So 4 hexes away from that. So let's go extended range. So yeah, if they ever move out here somewhere. So let's take these and move them to here. They're still in range of Narvik, or at least their bombers are. And I think that they are just barely outside the reach of the bomb, because The Furious was here. Furious was there. So let's mark that. And let's shut this down. So I think that was 40 hexes, 42. So I think this was about as far as it can make it. But these bombers here can probably still reach those two. That is what, 29 hexes and 29 hexes. Still long range, but I never considered taking the trying to hit the cruisers as a strategy. But anyway, so that moves in. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they can actually move there, but here, like charts. So let's go range. So yeah, they are within range there. 15 hexes. So they can still make it. Oops. So extended range and range. But I have seen one player that I played against always put his carriers up here out of reach. I don't remember if he ever actually used the aircraft other than as transports to get to Bardufoss. And don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing this if you're watching, Alan. Or I'm not criticizing that strategy. It was effective. It protected your carriers. I'm just trying to point out the different strategies that I've seen. Because the first time that I played this, I had no clue what I was doing. I was racing the Norwegians all over the place, and it wasn't until he showed me this strategy of just slowing down and getting in the way. My very first game, I took the Norwegians and I ran for Trondheim, and I just built up around here and just held him off as long as I could. And it was very nerve-wracking for me. With that, enough squawking, more playing. Let's get this done. I still have the bomber command that I need to do. The nightly bomber command raid. Sooner or later they're going to miss. 1, 3, 6, 10, and 4, 8, 11. So 18. So not quite 2 to 1. So 1 to 1 on both of them. So wave 1, 4, wave 2, 3, which is a kill, a single kill, I believe. So 1 to 1, 3 is a single kill. So the blend 4 goes away. So 6, 12, so that's 6, and that's 4. So at 6 they hit on a 4, 5, or 6. The other one hits on a 5 or 6. 4 hit. 2 hits. So they shut it down some more. Increase. Increase. And the blend 4 is automatically replaced. For the next turn, but because it was shot down to the anti-aircraft, it does lose 2 more points. Oh, there it is. So that knocks them down to 19. And this is why some Allied players get very protective over their British and their French and their Polish units. I've played against some people who they just wouldn't use Bomber Command at all. My nephew, when I was teaching him how to play Narvik, I had to constantly remind him to use Bomber Command. But after a while, he was like, after he had been shot, had lost a couple and lost some victory points, he was like, yeah, I don't think so. So, there is no exploitation. There really isn't. Any air movement. There's no reason to bomb Narvik just yet. Because while the French are in position, they're not ready to attack. Here lies HMS Furious. Was it there? Or was it there? I think it was there. Those are more than that's more than 7 hexes away. So, anyway, babbled on long enough. We move on to turn 7, May 2nd to 5th, 1940. The Allies are on their heels. Till next time, take care, everybody. Well, I'm back for an end cap on this thing. I feel like a complete and utter ding-dong right now. I set this battle up, and then I never fought the battle. So, here at Trondheim, we have 20 points for the Allies, and again, 6 for the Germans, giving us a 3-1. And it's in wood, so it doesn't. There's no die roll modifiers, so 3-1. Let's see what happens. We get a 2, and a 2 is a no effect. So, in essence, it ends kind of like I ended it a few minutes ago. The British are sitting there, and the Germans are going to counterattack them next turn or abandon the city. So anyway, this is only going to be a few seconds long, but it's just ding-dong me being my usual. My memory isn't what it used to be. So anyway, that's the end of the turn this time. See you next time for turn 7.